Today is day 19 of 21 days to facing your fears, and this is one I hear. It's pretty common, fear that things are never going to change, that things are always going to stay the same. It can be said one way or the other. Things are never going to change, or things are always going to stay the same. And notice how each one of those feels. I'm afraid things are never going to change. And does one feel truer than the other? And I'm afraid things are always going to stay the same. So just notice what comes up for you with that. And part of what I think when that becomes problematic for us is it can be hard to notice those little fractional wins that we have. And again, depending on the circumstance you're talking about, it really does pay attention to pay attention. It really does pay off to pay attention to noticing those little incremental wins. Like, okay, yeah, I went down the rabbit hole, but I didn't go as far down the rabbit hole. Maybe I went 49,999 feet, not 50,000. But most of what happens is we beat ourselves for going down the rabbit hole at all. And to truly affect change in our lives, it takes time often, and noticing those little inner shifts that happen. And if you know that and start to focus on that, you start to build that momentum on the good coming, noticing more of the actual changes that have been affected. So let's start on the karate chop. Even though I have this fear, this is never going to change for me. Things are always going to stay the same. I choose to acknowledge my feelings now. Even though I have this fear, this is never going to change for me. Things are always going to stay the same. I deeply and profoundly accept myself now. Even though I feel afraid, this is never going to change for me. In fact, it's always going to be like this. What if that doesn't have to stay true for me? As I deal with a belief or beliefs that this is never going to change and things are always going to stay the same. Go to the eyebrow. Things are never going to change. But what if they already are changing? What if they are changing for the better? No, they're not. What if things actually are changing? Incrementally for the better. They're not changing. But what if they actually are? What if, even though I have this belief that things are never going to change, and another belief that things are always going to stay the same, what if by attending to those beliefs each and every day, I soften the resistance they carry, and I'm much better able to notice how things are changing for the better, even if just a little bit. Things are never going to change. But what if they can? Things are never going to change. But what if they are? Things are never going to change. But what if they are changing? And what if I can start to notice them shifting and changing a little more each and every day? And what if that makes all the difference? As I start to focus on the incremental changes, even if they're tiny baby steps, that start to happen each and every day. And then I really see how things are changing for the better and how they are becoming different in a much better way as I release the beliefs that have kept these feeling true. So take a breath. So again, tap on both those. You can argue, tap, things are never going to change. Yeah, they are. Things are always going to stay the same. No, they're not. And see which one feels truer, and maybe they both do, and maybe they bump up against each other. And if you argue, tap both of those. That would be a really effective way to shift that. So that's it for now. See you back here tomorrow for day 20.